Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Let's now go through the papers and see what the front pages are saying. Public affairs analyst Sesan Okunade is here with us. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good to have you.
Good morning, Minga.
Good to have you on this beautiful. What's today's date?
Today is the 25th of June. We haven't slept.
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
We understand the circumstances.
Baba, baby, it's not really easy.
Baby times.
Those are the things our parents face. Try to
paying forward. I think that being a parent helps you appreciate your parents more because you understand the sacrifice that they made for you.
Absolutely. It's a phase we all have to go through.
Maybe I will just
Thank you very much, Mr. Okunade, for joining us this morning. Let's start with the Daily Independent newspaper. So many interesting headlines there. PDP vows to resolve national scribe dispute after meeting with the INEC. Again, Senate extends 2024 budget implementation till December. To boost growth, Tinubu vows nationwide infrastructure push, pledges expanding livestock economy for jobs and food security. Tinubu rejects National Assembly Library Trust Fund bill, cites legal concerns. But our one's group urging Tinubu to pick him as running mate. SDP suspends national chairman, 2 others over alleged embezzlement. Nigeria-Brazil seal $1 billion agri-defense, energy, food and security deal. That's a big one. But I would like us to touch on the Barrow One's groups urging Tinubu to pick him as running mate. I mean, since we came to this uninterrupted democratic experience since 1999, it's almost been automatic for presidents to run with their sitting vice president in their second term. But now we're hearing insinuations, and some people have been suggesting that the president changes his vice president, and the president has not come out to expressly say, look, I'm going to go with Vice President Shettima in my second term. Why are we having this sort of talks? And is it that all is not well in the villa between the president and the vice president?
Yeah, Benga, let me state that most of the time, you look at the person in question at the center of the whole affair. I would not say all is not well with the villa, but I have seen the antecedent of Mr. President. He's someone that I would say maybe he's liberal. He doesn't like people, repeating the same. He wants to have this dynamism of having different people. Consider you've done your bit, let's have another person.
Yeah, when it was governor of Lagos State, I believe he had 3 deputy governors, if I'm not mistaken.
A lot of people will say those are people that are actually challenging his position, and he decided to just take them off so that I can have a free day. But I've seen him more as he feels that, okay, you've done your bit, let's have somebody else. But these are happening of different groups coming to advocate for Mr. President, picking them as VP. We are just starting. This is just from the north. I'm sure people from the south, east too, might be considering something on their part.
No, you can't have a southern president and a southern vice president.
Several people are actually saying that it should be on merit, and let's leave this regional setting out of it.
I mean, since we've got Muslim
ticket. So nothing can stop us of saying South-South. It's about the merit on that particular thing. But this is just the beginning of it. I feel not until when we conduct the primaries, even though we keep hearing, everybody picking Mr. President and the consensus candidate for APC, not until when the primary is concluded, then the president we can now work with the party to say, okay, this is the direction we are going. Because
so how do you expect Mr. Kashim Shettima to feel, the vice president, currently seeing all this jostling for? I mean, he's already in a position, and then people are lobbying for his seat.
If you know the politician, they know how they play the game. He won't feel anyhow, because they might pull him out as vice president and give him another appointment that he will just be much more better than being the vice president, because there are some.
I mean, after vice president is the president, that's the only.
Yeah, but you know, it's not an automatic ticket to say, like some institution would do, to say we are actually, you know, not even a joint ticket to say if you are the vice president, there is hope that you become president. It doesn't work that way. So this idea of saying you are vice president, you might even have some other, like some of us would say, there are other individuals who are not vice president that we consider as powerful than the vice president as far as this country is concerned. So I feel that they might just feel that step down, let's look for other things to do and allow other, so that we can have this, you know, spread out. The way politicians, you know, the way they think is beyond the way you and I are professionals. Because if you look at professional
as
bodies,
a reward system, for example,
maybe we can consider that as one of the highlights. Because when you see professional bodies, they will look at the way they climb. When you become vice president, you're already looking up to say, okay, I think I will become the president. But it doesn't work like that for us in the country. So I want to say, let's leave the politicians do it the way they want to do. What I am concentrating on is the next 2 years that we have for Mr. President and the Vice. Give us good governance. I saw one of the headlines where he's giving a commitment of infrastructural push, you know, and saying that he's going to give the dividend of democracy. People are really not smiling, even though we believed a lot. Sunday, I bought fuel at 870 something. This morning, I'm buying at I bought at 9:30, and I asked myself, as a businessman, if as at last week I've given a quote to an organization that I need the input of this fuel as one of my yardstick, will I be going back to that organization to readjust, or will I be declining? So we've asked several questions to say, can we look internally to how to give good governance, you know, and allow to have steady, you know, this. We shouldn't allow foreign or international conflicts to dictate a lot of things. Where we are in control.
It's deregulated. That's what they say. So susceptible to global
If it's deregulated, can we internally look at how we can regulate things and give better governance to our people? Let people afford this product. Let people be able to plan. Let businessmen be able to take certain decisions. So if that is happening, do you know the impact this little increase of about 50 or 60 naira has actually impacted in the cost of goods outside there? If you are buying 50 liters, I'm sure people will tell you that how much is it? You might be looking at maybe 2,005, 2,000. Look at that in many folds when you are just having different offices everywhere, and this they are bringing to you. So these are things that can we have consistency in our policy? Look inward. A lot of us have suggested that can we do something differently? We've been saying international market, demand and supply, using all grammar. Can we set aside, first and foremost, give a condition to say this is the actual consumption in terms of PMX and DPK? And we want to look for a way of saying out of the crude that we are selling to international market to make more money, we are separating some for processing and you are giving that for our local consumption, so that whether Iran is fighting, Israel, Ukraine is fighting anywhere, this is our own product and our people are benefiting from it. International market will not flood those
even if it's for a certain period of time. It
shouldn't be for a certain period of time. It should be there to make sure that how can you be producing something and still be suffering out of it? It's my concern. We can't be producing this. If we are buying those things, we can be talking of international market, and this is something I want to, because it's painful. So if
something you have in your backyard,
if Israel and Iran or another country decide to join, and the price of crude at the international market, it add to maybe 140, 150, it becomes good revenue for us, of which we are not seeing so much of the impact of the revenue being generated, used for us. And we will now be buying the fuel as high as 1,000.
When you have refining capacity now,
within us,
and you also produce the crude oil in your backyard,
in your country,
I get you.
So I feel we can have an understanding with the refinery. Since government has failed in their own responsibility of making the refinery to work, let's go to the man and say, see, our raw materials is this is the cost we are going to. How much will you assist in producing this specific amount for local consumption and be shared and managed, because we cannot allow this fluctuation to go. It's impacting on businesses, it's impacting on individuals. Before you know it now, NLC will come out and say increase our salary, and becomes another subject of discussion because they feel that what they are consuming is not.
President Donald Trump has said that there's a ceasefire now, so we expect things to calm. There's peace in the world, peace in the Middle East, so the prices should come down. And Olive, Sesan said something quite instructive, that from the politics and the president's body language and his antecedents, that nothing is guaranteed for political appointment holders until the primaries are done in 2027. So if you're a minister now, if you're an appointee, things might change. And I guess the only position that is guaranteed, because it's hereditary, is the position of first son. So you can also vouch for the position of first daughter. That one is a blood covenant.
I think you're going to say something serious. Okay, I still want us to look at the front page of the Daily Independent and see the top story on the left corner. PDP vows to resolve national scribe dispute after meeting INEC. Party chieftains hit at the Magom for denigrating the Lugwaba. You remember that PDP's issue stems with, trying to decide who the national secretary is. Is it Today Okoye? Is it Samuel Anyanwu? There's a camp that believes it's Samuel Anyanwu. Another camp believes it's Ude Okoye. They believe Samuel Anyanwu went to run for office. He has no business here. So how do you foresee the possibility of PDP resolving their crisis? It feels like PDP they've not had a break in a while. It's been back-to-back. When they're getting out of one or trying to navigate one, another one will happen.
Yeah. Well, for me, is expected. And a lot of people will say it's the external forces that is actually controlling certain things, which I don't believe. I think last week we discussed this with Joe, and I'm of the opinion that the PDP, the INEC came out to say they recognize Anyanwu. And I said, it's not to just say the man left his office, went to go and contest for a particular position. Do we have documentation to back it up that it was actually replaced, removed, and the due process will actually follow? We always say that the chief scribe of every organization is as strong, even stronger than the chairman or whosoever is at the helm of affair, because when you even have meetings, the proceedings of the meeting is in his hands, and he can decide to influence it whichever way. I feel that they can come to terms with one another, because people like us have said they are not actually playing the role expected of them as opposition in criticizing this government. A lot of distraction on their part. APC had it well while PDP was at the center, coming out with a lot of criticism and making suggestions, not just criticizing, and at the time people were of the opinion that, okay, the change mantra is, let's look for ways. But as we speak, I don't think anyone will sit down to have consideration because of the internal crisis. And it has come to be to say that once a party fall out of power, they seems to be clouded with a lot of problems that will take them doing the right thing. We expect them to be a strong opposition, the voice of the people, to be able to put the current administration on their toes, because they are all politicians and they understand the language. They can speak from that perspective. But as we speak, the house that is divided against itself, how do you expect them to actually challenge the position?
Let's hear from Benjamin. Benjamin is calling us this morning and wants to contribute. Good morning, Benjamin. Thanks for calling. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I just want to agree with Sesan on the issue of the fuel prices. I agree with him on what he said, but I want to state that there is a danger in it when, if you start producing the cost at a lower cost, what it means is that you will not see fuel now being smuggled out of the country, and then we now have scarcity. However, what I want to contribute to that is that the federal government can give Dangote, for example, at the price of the international market, and then ask him to supply the fuel at a price, a baseline, where it cannot be more than what we have now. So that when whatever the government is going to, what the government is going to do now is that they will give him tax relief on whatever it's paying, so that we have a balanced fuel price level. But we must tighten our borders to ensure that fuel is not being smuggled out of the country, so that we don't go back to the era of scarcity. Thank you very much.
Contribution.
Olive, I appreciate Benjamin's comment. I asked myself, who are the people manning our borders? Each time we have marching order from Mr. President, can't we give the instruction to these are things that are meant for us? And it's because we keep saying it, there are no consequences for wrongdoing. People stay at the border, they move our things out, and they do it freely, and they do it to our face.
Such a huge amount of security personnel at the semi-border, from Badagry all the way, you can count up to 50.
So they are there. What are they doing? So you ask yourself, what are they doing? Because we cannot, because of this idea of saying people smuggling, how are you punishing people to say, and that's why we've asked the question, and up to today, I stand to be corrected. What is our average monthly consumption of this product? As a local, even when subsidy was removed, we were actually expecting that we have data. And that's why there was a time I was discussing with my friend, the chairman of the tax reform, to say, we always speak to fact. But when it comes to this issue of petroleum product, I don't think there has been any time we have the actual consumption of this petroleum product that can guide. If there are going to be smuggling, then we should hold those personnel who are there and look at which, because we can't continue to be suffering a common man. A lot of people struggle to even get power. So the alternative that they have is this fuel to actually energize their home. And it's really not stable. You have it stable for 1 or 2 months. The next thing you have, who knows, we don't pray for war. But this issue of Israel and Iran, nobody, so anything can happen at any time. But be able to give that relief to your locals in such a way that things can be steady in the way they do it. This idea of smuggling, there are people doing it, and we know them. But if government is not intentional about curbing those acts, then it is the common man they are actually punishing.
Wale is calling us this morning as well. Let's hear from him. Good morning, Wale. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. It's nice having me online this morning. Yeah. I would like to contribute to what is going on. First of all, Sesan, that is your program now. He happens to be my primary school friend. Number one, I would like to say hi to him in Emmanuel Primary School. But what I want to say about this issue is this. The problem we have in Nigeria is a management issue. A management issue, and I don't want to zero it down to just to fuel. I want to generalize. You can imagine of recent what happened in Yelewata, where President Tinubu had to tell the IGP before those guys could be arrested. You know, these are the issues we're having. People are not responsible for what they are being put to do. People need to take responsibility of their action. We don't have to wait until the presidency give an instruction before certain actions are taken. Everybody needs to do the right thing at the right time. And that's why you can see we have more opportunities in Nigeria, but the opportunities are not being harnessed because everyone is doing what is right. Everyone is waiting for his own opportunity. Everyone wants to take his own. Everyone is selfish in Nigeria. Until we see ourselves as a collective entity, until we see ourselves as a body that we need to work to enhance our system, that is where things can move forward in Nigeria. So and that is my own take on this. So it is not only limited to fuel. It is on all spheres of our life. People should be responsible for which office they occupy, and that is when Nigeria can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wale.
You can hear the passion in his voice. You can tell he used to come first, and Sesan used to come second.
He's one of the big boys those days when we were in primary school.
At least if you ever decide to run for office, we have proof that you went to school.
At least I can call my classmates.
Okay, I think we should look at another newspaper at this point. New Telegraph.
All right, let's go to the Daily Times. On the front page of the Daily Times, who is your national secretary? Yakubu asks PDP.
I like this.
Who's your guy?
Is it to do Okoye?
Or is it Anyanwu? Okay, and still on the front page, Army cautions Southeast residents on manipulated content. And I think that this is something to talk about. I don't know the details of this story. I probably will look it up before we finish. But in the advent of AI, can we please appeal to people? They're doing the actual most. 2 days ago, my auntie was showing me a video where they said terrorists and bandits are chasing women running inside the bush. And as they were running, she was like, oh, look at it in somewhere in Nigeria. I said, this is AI.
Is it? I mean,
can we calm down? This new trend of AI, where people are doing all sorts of
I also saw a video
things.
that Burkina Faso is now the #1 oil producer in the world, producing more than Saudi Arabia. And people, you know, from our own perspective, maybe because we're media trained and media literate, we tend to say, look, it's obvious that this is a fake. But there's so many people out there, even educated people, that have no
clue. Even saying educated people, even some media houses on my platform where I belong to, you will see certain information, you'll be asking, are you a trained journalist to actually be believing? You know, it's when you believe, you share. When you don't believe a content, it's difficult for you to share. So the truth of it is, we will continue to say some of these things. You can't take those people out. It's just like you saying that hackers should be out of business. They are there, they are growing every day. All we need to do is to look for ways of actually putting out information that will counter some of these things which we're doing. Because I say most of the time they will call me from overseas and say, please don't go to this place or don't eat this or this is a video I just watched. I said, like you said, on Facebook, on Instagram, everybody is going to sleep tomorrow. They will not wake up. They have actually poisoned. I say, for Christ's sake, I just came back from the same state. You are complaining that everybody will not wake up tomorrow. These are things. So you can't take off those people because there are no consequences.
What can we do?
We will continue to go on this space. Can we have more people who will galvanize to relate? Because even the government that should counter some of these reports are not there. So I put it on the table of the media houses in every structure we found ourselves to see how we correct some of these narratives once we don't believe. Because I know most of the time when we are there, there are tools you can use to monitor some of this AI development, to know that the story is really, put together. There are some stories that are, there was a video I watched too where they said they've killed everybody in one part of the northern region. In fact, if you see the way...
And these things are dangerous. They could lead to reprisal attacks.
Yes.
People could...
So we should go into the space and see how we correct some of those narratives.
To highlight.
And government should just take responsibility therein too.
Apparently this one, there was a misleading video surfacing that falsely alleged that the federal government and Southeast and other governments have planned to transport weapons to attack Southeast residents. So reacting in the state on Tuesday, the acting deputy director, Army Public Relations 82 Division, Lieutenant Colonel Olabisi Ayeni, described the claims as entirely deceptive and a calculated attempt to incite disaffection among ethnic groups in the country. So I doubt that this is AI, but I had to bring up the AI one because it's actually becoming a thing. The other day I saw people hosting, you will see a reporter talking about flood, and the next thing somebody falls into a ditch and the flood covers them. All those ridiculous clips. AI is wonderful,
people should be
used for should be used responsibly.
Yeah,
right.
I think that's the part we just need to go. AI has come to stay, and it's actually impacting and influencing some of our side of our economy positively. But we should not just misuse it in such a way that it now becomes something that will be disastrous to our economy.
Let's take the front pages of the stories on the front page of the Daily Times. Senate extends implementation of 2024 budget to December. I ask you, mother of 12, our constitution guarantees freedom of movement, Kaduna governor says. FAN moves to automate airports, fully bans cash payments. Interesting. Lufthansa under fire as passengers report missing phones on board. It feels like a scam, says victim. Missing phones scare. How?
Was it a one-off? Or is it Lufthansa's fault? Or you have passengers that are skilled in pilfering?
Either skilled or even the other party.
Who takes responsibility?
Yeah. So for me, for that story, I feel proper investigation needs to be carried out. And that
investigation when passengers have gone home.
No, now.
Shouldn't there be like cameras on the plane?
Yeah, that's an area I'm trying to go. That we should have things that will spot out one or two things. But that's why you always see this disclaimer when you enter into public space. You take responsibility for some of your gadgets and things that you are holding. Like we want to validate, is it a one-off thing or is something that is happening continuously?
I mean, for you to make the news and the person just saying that it feels like a scam, I think it's a regular occurrence. And Lufthansa is a German national carrier. You expect highest international standards. You don't expect
until we have full details of that story. Everyone may not be able to
go into it.
Yeah.
But right. Do you expect people that, I mean, no, I'm not class discriminating. If this thing happened in a keke, you expect it to happen. But wow. People that fly planes, they have a certain standard.
Well, knows no economic.
That is an area I want to say doesn't know any. Once you have it in your gene,
so big man is doing baby.
You'll be shocked. Don't allow people to call in that. Even some of the ones that are doing
even in church, in the house of the Lord,
even before the altar, people they pray. You just leave your phone by the side.
Meanwhile,
the national security advisor.
Yesterday at one of the events I was at, I dropped my content creator dropped my food bag near my handbag and came to take pictures of me next. I said,
you are lucky it wasn't your handbag.
But it's not even your handbag.
It's not my handbag.
Now your food
can be bought. I'll buy you lunch.
You buy me lunch. I've said that on national television.
Buy you yam and egg.
Okay, let's go to Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria. The front page of the Daily Times says that they have now banned cash payment and more tariff hike in the airports. They say that the Director of Commercial and Business Development Fund, Adebola Agunbiya, they disclosed this on Monday while speaking during an event in Lagos. He noted that 92% of its current revenue comes from aeronautical sources, while only 8% is derived from non-aeronautical activities, a stark contrast to global standards where non-aeronautical revenue accounts for over 40% in many developed countries. So he says that this is a step in modernizing their operations and rebalancing their revenue structure. Do you think that this would be great, the fact that they're going completely digital?
If you ask me, they are coming late because most organizations have digitalized their process and they make it cashless. But you ask yourself, are the infrastructure there? So that, people take advantage of some of these things when the infrastructure you've put in place. You put POS in a particular place and somebody is telling you that we are sorry, the POS is not working, and you are in a hurry to get things done. Without thinking, I just say, okay, I beg, take the cash, even when you know that you should be. So how are they training their people to make sure that the infrastructure they're actually providing are actually top-notch? People now do transfer, and you can get alert, even if POS is not working on your POS machine. I know there are several POS that actually carry out that deal. You say, we are trying to use this thing, can you do transfer? And as you're doing the transfer, they are getting the alert. So I think they need to do proper training, put the right infrastructure in place. As far as they are coming late, because a lot of government agencies are now going cashless, and that's just the way to go. So you don't have any interface with anybody. Then they should do more enlightenment. Place those things conspicuously, at some of their revenue generating offices in such a way that you can. So when somebody is telling you that this is not working, what are other alternative measures that you've actually put on place? Because you now have to refer to that sticker to say, see, they said there is no cash, so I'm not going to pay cash. What are the alternatives that you've provided for me to carry out some of these activities with them?
I don't think that it's possible for us to do newspaper review without talking about the fact that the extended implementation of 2020 budgets, 2024 budgets to December 2025.
Do a second check to, what year are we in?
Yeah, 2025. And we are in June of 2025. So implementation of 2024 budgets to December 2025.
We are playing catch up.
A lot of us, I think last night I spoke on this. And this morning, my position is I still don't understand the rationale because going by our law and constitution, our budget is an annual budget. But this that we are doing now is about 1.5 years because I think we started last year, June, That was why they requested for that additional 6 months. So that I was thinking that we're going to change the cycle from June to June as against January to December. If you are going to do that, then the law, the legislators can sit down and say, okay, our fiscal year will no longer be January to December, it will be June, based on the fact that this is when we started here, not actually advocating for an extension, because how can you be running two budgets concurrently? It's going to give room for a lot of manipulation from the MDs who are responsible. You say it's capital project because we got delayed in funds. There are ways you move some of these budgets of inconclusive project in the previous year. It's all the project that you have in a particular fiscal year that you have to actually execute. You move it to a new one, and there are ways you have the continuity in it. So to me, it does not speak to the global best practice. I know a lot of people have actually said, and I read through, that the medium-term expenditure stuff is the bedrock at which, because that gives room for multiple year use of some of these. But I feel if we must do that, we should start addressing things internally. Do this.
Just a quick one before we run out of time. There's some interesting items here on the New Telegraph newspapers. Could we have it on the screen, please? The New Telegraph. The headline here says, Iran-Israel ceasefire crashes oil prices to 2-week low. I saw the speed at which the fuel stations increased the price of fuel. Can they please use that same energy and speed to let it reflect the current realities in the world since the prices have crashed? Value of Nigerian equities hit record 75.8 trillion on investments resurgence. Some good news there. Ongoing constitution review exercise in futility, says constitutional lawyer Sage, kicks against National Assembly state creation move. Yes, and I think the bill on state creation has passed second reading, if I'm not mistaken. What do you make of this? Olive she made a statement about Ibadan State this morning. I believe it's part of it. There's also a Migodo state and things like that.
Your state.
So, do we need more states at this point in time when quite a number of states are not even economically viable?
Yeah, my personal view, I don't think we need more states. I think we need more cohesion within the existing states and how those states can be economically viable. Making use of the resources. A lot of people who will come and say this state is a civil servant state. And I say yes. If it's a civil servant state, how are you exploring those intellectuals in making deliverable? We can start exporting our intellectual to other states because it's part of what's been claiming.
Absolutely no state without
natural resources that you can actually tap from. But come to think and say this, I know somebody came to say my state was actually civil servants there. I said, but I remember when we were growing up in our social study, they told us that we have golds that you can mine in Malaysia, which is in Osun State. So why would you come and say that it's a civil servant state? So how much of it have you actually tapped of some of those things that you can actually explore? So
you also have tourism. Ojude Oba, for example, I heard they made upwards of $8 million.
Yeah, that gives good income. But you ask yourself, when those incomes are generated, how do we track to make sure that we get the taxes that is derivable from it? A lot of people go away without making those taxes because taxes are for common man and not for the board. We believe with the fiscal policy that is actually coming on board, once it's been accepted by Mr. President, we can have a good level.
All right, you have to go out of the studio now. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks so much, Mr. Sesan Okunade.